library chair when I found a book and it gave me a scare. The pages I kept turning, it quite took me in. What was it? Oh, where do I begin? We read the monsters. I read the monsters next door. The monsters. It had short stories galore. The monsters. It's full of horror and gore. The monsters. I read the monsters next door.
That is what we are tonight, the Critical BlastCast. It's a Friday night. Where else you gonna go? Because stuff happened this week. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just kind of like watching it from the middle here on all sides. So apparently, some of y'all may need a place to come chill and shill, and we wanted to, at least pull out the bar stools and let some of you have a seat. If you wanted to walk in, sit down, show off your projects, talk about your comic, talk about somebody else's comic, put a couple of beer steins next to a cardboard box and see what happens. Anyway, we have Mr. Tamulevich. Chris Tamulevich is in the house.
Hello, brother.
Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm sketching and doing well. It's Friday night?
Yes.
I know we were talking a little bit backstage, but there's been quite a night of excitement already, and
I know it's like I've got to end this stream to watch that stream.
What's that?
I've got to end this stream so I can go watch that stream.
Yeah. Oh, that one's finished.
Well,
he did finally finish. So who knows? You may get some traffic in on that. He had over 2,800 viewers at one point, I think.
Oh, they can all come over here. I can host 10 of them. The rest of them sit in the chat. Edwin Bloodbone, hail to you, sir. Thanks for popping in.
Welcome.
Mr. Big is in the chat out there. He likes that background art. Yeah, it's a very Kirby-esque kind of thing there. I looked at that and I'm like, oh, I'm stealing that. I didn't really steal it.
It does look good, man. It's sharp and it has that retro vibe to it at the same time.
Yeah. That whole cosmic New Gods kind of space scope.
Yeah, man. The stuff we don't get anymore. Everything is 3D modeled. Just ask EBS.
No. Come. The day will never come when you can just make a comic book by, taking clip art things and rotating them and sticking them next to each other and putting a filter over the top and say, hey, that's something I made.
Yeah, I don't think we're near that yet. But actually, I think it's going to come. I think it's going to come to the point where I can buy like a, Adobe Comic Draw and you get it in and you add, plugins. I want the John Byrne plugin and the Todd McFarlane, and they're literally licensed to the artists themselves, so they make money off of every plugin.
Oh, that would be sweet.
I can just envision it, and like you might take a pen and go, okay, I kind of want a guy here, and then like you just plug in the artist and see what I can see it. Yeah. Like they're scary. These AI things are so powerful. Like I can just see it. I see it coming.
I've had a theory, and I haven't really voiced it, but and I'm not going to put any names on it. So, but AI that artwork that didn't happen in a month of programming. It didn't even happen in a year of programming. That was years of training the thing.
Yeah.
Like let's just say 5 years. Just to pick a number. And you see some of these artists who are like so good that you're like, hey, your work looks like AI. And
yeah, maybe there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason is because their art, they were training the AI.
Yeah.
Not accidentally, not like having their art stolen, but like literally drawing picture after picture after picture, which is why so much AI looks like particular sets of artists because
So
that was
yeah, your theory might be they built off a stable of artists where they could have a controlled environment to get the information from.
yeah. Because I saw this one picture. Well, okay, there was a picture on Twitter of Supergirl, and someone said, "Hey, look what AI can do," and someone was like, "That's not AI, that's ArtGerm." And they pulled up the original picture from 2017 um, from his Instagram with his signature on it, and the signature had been removed. I was like, but I can see why they thought it was AI because she's taking off her shirt, but the cape is on the outside of the shirt, and the pinky is bent weird, and had all these hallmarks of AI. And I was like, oh my God, what if ArtGerm was like training AI as an academic art teacher? Because that's what he is. He's an art teacher back in 2017. And that's why so much stuff comes out looking like ArtGerm or looking like some of these other people.
Wow, that would be a trip. I wonder if you can crack that. You're a journalist.
Oh, no. I don't want it. I don't want the AI mob to come after me. Put a hit out on me.
Well, it's funny because it's such a hot topic, and like, I still really don't care. Like, I don't care if someone's cheating because you kind of run into this already in indie comics. Like, you have to come to terms with the fact that like writers don't have to put in as much time as someone who's doing the writing and the art and the colors. You know what I mean? Like, and AI is just another tool to facilitate that. It's gonna get
Yeah.
used.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't know how to make art and you use AI, you're going to get something that you think looks cool, but other people are going to look at it like, no, this is missing the mark. But if you're an artist and you use AI, you can say, yes, here's the foundation of what I want, and I know how to go in and fix the stuff that's wrong.
Yep.
You just saved
There's a whole world that's going to open up there, and it's not going to kill hand art. In fact, it should make good hand art even more valuable.
Yeah.
But it will alleviate a lot of the crappy drawn comics because people won't bother doing crappy drawn comics anymore. You know.
The AI and stuff. This image that everybody's commenting about, complete AI. Other than the logo in the middle. I just asked for Jack Kirby explosion.
It does it.
Well, and it's obviously one of 4 because that's how those things kick out. But
Well, it's kind of like the AI music and stuff and the voices, and you can do a lot of killer stuff with it already. And just that's just the
AI music and voices like this. Yeah, that's AI, guys. Sorry to disappoint y'all. I didn't go out and hire the Shirelles to put something together for me there.
The theme song on Cyclopean 6 is AI, and when I told my son that, oh, you would have thought I was going to be thrown out of the family. He was just so upset, and I'm like, okay, I'm not selling it. It's a 30-second, jingle. Get over yourself. And it took him a little bit, but yeah, he finally started coming around. I'm like, it's not what you think it is,
Yeah, it's
well, it's not like I'm releasing a CD, here's my top hits. No, it's not. These are jingles. Relax.
Yeah, we're if you want original music, you're going to hire somebody to compose. If you want original art, you're going to, if I want a Todd McFarlane Spawn, I'm going to go to Todd McFarlane and say, here's, $6,000, draw me a Spawn. I'm not going to say, hey, AI, draw me a Spawn that looks like Todd McFarlane and that'll make me just as happy. George!
Greetings.
Hey, did you win your draw off, or was that it today?
For what? What draw off?
I saw you on CG Slums making a fool of that other artist with that very piece of art.
No, the guy's a loser, man.
I didn't say he wasn't, but I was like, you were funny tonight, George.
Yeah, thank you.
George has got a unique sense of humor that most people don't appreciate.
Well, I happened to be watching when he came in, and I laughed my ass off. It was great.
Wasn't it funny? It was so easy to derail the stream.
Yeah,
I missed it, George. We got to go watch EVS later because apparently he just did a full review of ISOM.
Oh, geez. I don't think he did. I don't think he did every page.
No, he didn't. He kept skipping, going, "See, I'm not going to do a copyright strike. This is fair use, and I'm not showing everything." And
Okay, yeah. There you go.
it was funny because he kept going past stuff and then having to go back to show his point. Like, so he was showing a background problem where things were disappearing on the wall and then coming back. And so he started talking about it, and then he's like, "Okay, wait a minute. Let's go back a couple of pages. I'll show you." So he skipped like 4 pages and then went back 2 pages. So I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if his copyright plan is going to work because he keeps.
If you chop the video up and rearrange the segments, you can
But
read.
I'm sure it will work because reviews are creative. Isn't that like acceptable use if you're reviewing something?
It's
I mean,
absolutely.
you can show the whole thing if you want, as long as you're it's in the context of being reviewed.
Yep, that's what I thought too.
But that hasn't stopped people from being copyright struck.
Hey, hello, Mr. Big.
Exactly that.
Well, George has shown movies that should be copyright comment or public domain, and he's gotten strikes.
Yeah, usually from Brazil or Misty 3K.
Yeah, because there's some companies that are on YouTube illegally monetized, and they're holding on to it. They're saying, "Oh no, we got first in on YouTube. It's our copyright." No, it's not. No, it's not. They just never got challenged. That's all it is.
That's funny, isn't it? I mean, you got to deal with it when you're doing it, but it's like, wow, people will pull that and get away with it.
Yeah, it's like I thoroughly review every movie before I show it. I do research. And after the research and the thorough vetting, then we show it. But then if somebody is stupid enough to come after it, well then they're going to be very, very disappointed.
Because then you go after that, right?
I just make them look like a fool. Hey, YouTube, why is this company in Brazil claiming copyright of Captain Marvel 1941?
YouTube said, "Oh, that's not right."
No. It took 6 months. It took 6 months.
Wow.
It's documented on my Twitter feed. It's pinned to my Twitter. All of it.
That's crazy.
Well, you think about it. What is it? Captain Marvel 1941. It's 80 years, and I'm the only one who actually enforced YouTube to recognize it's a public domain movie, and no one can claim ownership. No one can claim copyright on it. Anyone can show it. I mean, Ethan got struck. Hit, for copyright claim when he was showing Captain Marvel 1941.
Yeah.
Oh,
in the middle of a stream.
In the middle of a stream, right?
That's actually that's happened to me with my my old pre-shows. Some of the music would get censored live on the air. You couldn't hear it, but it was still being sent from StreamYard. I got to go grab a ginger ale. I'll be right back. And Diana's out there. So I'm going to say hi. So I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Go get her.
Okay, now that he's gone, can we talk shit about him?
Absolutely. He said he went to go get Diana, but usually when people leave, it's always because they got to.
Are you kidding me?
Chris, you took your phone with you. That's embarrassing.
But he's muted. How did the audio go through?
Shush! Don't break the fourth wall, George.
You bugger. I get it now.
Oh, so yeah, it's I'm interested in the review. It sounds like fuses have been lit, bonfires have been set, Molotov cocktails have been tossed. But aside from that, I learned something interesting today.
Hold that thought for a moment.
Hold that thought. Okay. Now, he didn't drink as much. Well, it's just me. Well, if you guys have seen the link and you're creators, you can come in here and just chill and chill. If you don't have the link, send me a DM on Twitter, and I will make sure you get it. And come on in and show your stuff off. We're just kind of hanging around, talking about stuff that's going on in the indie comic sphere.
All right, sorry, I had to fix my audio because for some reason I keep hearing water dripping.
Oh, that's I don't know what could cause that.
Yeah. Okay, you were saying?
I wasn't saying anything really. I was just inviting the other creators who got the link to pop over if they want. Mike just finished up his show. Speaking of Captain Marvel, he just finished up his show. Diana and I read Captain Marvel feature from Wiz Comics Volume 1, Issue 2 tonight as part of the Historical Comics retrospective. Yeah, the good Captain Marvel stuff, the Shazam, the real Captain Marvel.
Yeah, legit.
But I got an email from Michael Tierney tonight.
Is he okay?
He's fine, but he said, well, I know we haven't done a comic shop guys thing in a while, but DC skipped their weekly final order cutoffs for the 4th week in a row. He said that's unprecedented.
Ooh. There's layoffs coming.
Yeah, he said, Marvel took a couple of weeks off for the holiday, but they're back with their solicitations now. Might be something going on at DC, might not. So George, help me understand now. What does that mean that they've skipped their final order cutoffs 4 weeks in a row?
That means what do you call cash flow is not going so good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all about the cash flow.
So
it's like since it's all management, it's not really creative that's running it. Somebody's talking to management and saying like, hey, what's going on here? We're supposed to be cash positive.
You look tired.
We're not cash positive, you say? Okay, let's stop for a moment. So what happens is when they stop, it means they're not spending money, right? So when they're not spending money, that means their numbers slowly, come into the black, not the red.
So, but the final order cutoff is that's for stores to order, right?
Yeah.
Why not? So if they're skipping it,
yeah, that means they're not printing books. They're not spending money.
Okay. It's confusing me, but it certainly set off Mike's alarm bells. Say 4 weeks in a row, no final order cutoff. I guess they're not going to print until they get enough to print for, and if they don't have enough to print at final order cutoff, hold it open.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, I can follow that. Chris is sketching. Chris, what are you working on? Are you working on?
I'm actually sketching for a project that nobody knows anything about yet.
A new title.
Right. Well, I'm working on The Great Cyclopean. I have all the way up to issue 12 plotted and ready to go in that sense. Issue 7 should start funding next week, and it's done. But on the side, I'm working on something that I really want to put out that's not superhero related. It's more like fairy tale related. Are you leaving us?
Yeah, I was just going to say hi.
And Diana's just saying hi. Hang on.
Hey, hi, everybody. I'm to the side because I'm in my jammies, and that wouldn't be cool.
Oh, come on. We need the ratings. Come on.
We need the ratings. So, RJ, you look great. Oh, my God. Like, did you cut your hair? What did you do? You've lost weight. You've done something.
I cut my hair. I trimmed the beard, and I lost 50 pounds.
My good Lord, you look amazing. Very nice. Good job. Thumbs up.
I keep working on it.
You look beautiful. I just saw you. I'm like, oh my God, I'm looking. That is RJ. RJ, I haven't forgotten about what we kind of discussed about the books and having you help us out. Remember, we talked about that way back before the holidays.
George is all over
that. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it because I'm going to need some help. So, and I'm working with Chris. So that says another whole thing. So I'm going to be contacting you privately. So if you could help me to walk me through, is that going to be okay?
That will be fine.
Hey, Diane, I'm just asking for a friend. Why don't you ditch Chris and find another creative?
She could with
she's
all the
not-
people that she talks to.
Oh my gosh.
She's like talking to people about editing and all sorts of little things, other creators, and I'm like, all right, yeah, just pile it in.
One other thing, I was able to get our principal at our elementary school to give the okay for us to give our Title I staff issues 1 through 6 of the Great Cyclopean to use in our elementary school. So I'm going to
Very
give them
cool.
a set of books for them to start using with some of the kids. Hopefully that'll help boost some sales
Yep.
and, you know.
Wait a minute. You mean it's going to be a curriculum? It's going to be a course?
Not a curriculum, but like, so they're always looking for books that they can throw to kids to get them to read.
Right.
And comics are really in a school system. It's all the Scholastic Library.
Is that all? All you do is just roll it up and throw it at the kid's head.
Wrap it in a rubber band.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good old days.
That will, that will get the point across. Read this, kid.
Well, you guys know that
with multiple creatives.
We've started, we posted issues 1 through 6 on the website PDF form for free. And Diana's deadly against that. But I'm like, at this point, I want to get as many PDF copies out there as I can.
Okay. There's a whole bunch of examples on the internet. Specifically, there's a title called Wormwood. Okay. And another one's called Scurry. They produced the books online, digitally available for anyone to watch and read as they're producing them. And then when they got enough pages, then they do a crowdfund of a collected book, hardcover or softcover, and it works like a charm.
Yep.
So
always want to have hardcover because they never know when your site will go away.
Well, my goal is to have people buy the books when they really like them, but more than that, I want to get kids reading them. I don't care how the kids get them, and my logic in that is just because kids aren't.
Well, just put the hash. What do you call it? The meta tags: leftist, crazy, rainbow, all that stuff. Trust me, you'll get the audience.
You'll get the teachers, and then they'll give it to the kids.
Yeah. They'll look at it and go, "Oh my gosh, this guy is so stunning and brave. We got to get this to the kids."
Well, I do have a good rapport with the people that I work with. So like, I've actually had Cyclopean in a guidance counselor's office for a year now.
What the guidance counselor showed it to the kid. Look, you could look like this if you don't do what I tell you. Okay.
Well, they tell him that he's got his eye on you.
You'll lose your eyes.
But the truth is, the kids, because they know me, they get excited. They read the book, and it's kind of something that chills them out. It makes them feel special. And so, like, the more we can get that out, the better I feel about it. Because,
oh my God, are you kidding me? No, kids are not special unless they accomplish something. Jeez.
But that's not very rainbow-like.
Not very rainbow-like at all. I tried to help, and that probably did nothing at all. But
write a book. Break a record.
I wrote a letter of reference.
Elvis records.
I wrote a letter of reference via email along with links and images to the Arkansas School for the Deaf, and telling them about the Great Cyclopean and that they should, hey, check into this because it might be something that you guys want to use in your outreach to reach kids. And look, here's a superhero, and he has to use ASL to communicate because he has no ears or mouth.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I actually have to get more ASL in my world. I actually want to learn to fluently speak in it because in conventions, it sucks to explain that my character uses ASL and then not be able to say much more than hello. It's like, oh, can you hear all that noise in the background?
Yes, it's very annoying. I don't hear it.
No, I don't hear it.
Yeah, no, we have 3 mad kittens. At this point, they're about 12 weeks and they are just insane. Good night. Along with our 2 dogs, they run around the house until 3 a.m.
I've got a plug that I want to get in here because it's part of a project where people are like putting themselves behind one project for a week and like, hey, let's all of us tell everybody about this project and see if we can't, get a stronger, more focused boost. So the project of the week is Jimmy Reyes's Dragon Rage, Crown of Fire, and this is up to 36,000. They're trying to get it past 38 by the end of the week.
What does this amateur want with all with the help from everybody else? Jeez.
I don't know. I'm not doing this because I'm obligated to help anybody. I want to make that perfectly freaking clear. I'm not obligated to help this guy. I do it because
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. And you know there are some people out there, maybe two, some maybe two that you know might think they're obligated to get help, but I'm doing this because I think that helping the community will ultimately help me. In fact, I can mathematically prove that helping people sell more comic books helps me, because if they sell more comic books, then they might end up selling more comic books than they can fulfill by themselves, and then they'll need help with a fulfillment agency. At which point, here I am. Rock me like a hurricane.
I was just going to go there too.
So this Jimmy Reyes guy is a pretty good artist.
Yeah, he's a really good artist. I believe
man.
he's actually the inker for David Finch quite often. In fact, he's got a Finch. One of his covers here is a Finch cover. Right there it is. So
It's
David,
beautiful.
they're buds. So David Finch did that, and he inked over it like he often does. And yeah, it's a really cool looking fantasy book. We got our black bars. I'm pretty sure, folks, that when you get the comic, the black bar won't be there.
Wait, no, that's part of her costume, bro.
You think?
3D modeling.
She's wearing a floating black bar.
Sketch up, bro.
Yeah, so if you like, Conan, if you like Kozor, if you like all these other barbarian books that are out there, yeah, check it out. Oh, looks kind of like a definitely medieval dragons, babes with boobs, weird freaking stories. Here's the story. The oldest stories tell of men who shared an unnatural bond with dragons. Wait a second. What kind of a book is this?
It's a bondage book.
It's a bondage
It's inclusionary.
book. Yes. They were called Dragari, and they were worshipped as gods who walked among us. Okay, so the Dragari slaughtered the dragons. Wait, that's an unnatural bond with magical weapons, enabling them to harness the power. Okay, so it's like you kill it, and then you take the dragon's rage into yourself.
Ooh.
So they're like dragon vampires. Interesting. So David Philpott
Like
is
it
the
would make a
writer on
good
that.
video game too.
It would. That
Yeah.
would make a very good video game.
I would play it.
So it's at 36,697. Get over to Indiegogo and look for Dragon Rage. I will. You know what? I'm just going to take the link right now. I'm going to throw it out there into the chat. This is a creator's stream, so the creator. The link is out there in a bunch of different creator forums. If you're watching from there, I see there's like 7 people watching. So if you are into it, if you did not get the link and you're a creator and you're looking at the creator streams that you're in and you're like, I don't see it here, hit me up on a DM on Twitter. And again, if you've got a project that you're working on, we'll bring you in. Sean, I see you out there in the chat. I know that I ran into Sean at a convention last October. Finally got to meet in person him and his dad, Sean Jr. and Sean Sr., to go over.
So you ran into him, you say?
I ran into him literally. I mean, he was at the table next to me. I just turned around and went, bam!
All right. So you guys exchanged insurance?
Well, most of the damage was done to me, and it was my fault. Because Sean's a sturdy guy. I wasn't going to hurt him any. And I found out that it's not just the two of them, but Sean's sister was also there creating comics and art.
Really?
She had a table down in Artist Alley. So that was cool to find out that the family is even bigger in the comics creative community than what I thought it was.
It's weird when you meet people that are actually making the books, and then you realize there's a whole ecosystem of creators around that creator.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also weird when you run into somebody in real life whom you've only ever known on Twitter and live streams. Like,
I haven't done well. I guess I have because I've met them, and now they're no longer just known online. But usually, like they've done videos. A lot of like Keith Gleason is a good example. He's the guy who does Mighty Mascots.
yeah,
I knew him before I knew him, and now that I know him, I know that I knew him before I knew him. You know what I mean? Because of the streams.
yeah, okay, yeah. I thought that was like a bit of a shell guy.
But then when I met him, he's really a great guy, exactly like he is on the streams, and he's local. There's quite a few of them up here where I'm like, oh, now I do know who you are. All right.
Yeah, I don't have that advantage. I don't have that local advantage of.
Well, you're in Arkansas, right?
Yeah, local's like the next 100 miles over. I could run into creators, but you're getting ready to launch a campaign in the next Great Cyclopean,
right?
And I'm of course in a privileged position where I've seen the work that you're doing. How much of that are we going to actually put in the campaign?
We're definitely going to make it clear who the guest star is.
Okay.
And I don't know. I always put either too little or too much. So don't be surprised if I ask for advice somewhere in the next 7 days as I put this campaign together. But yeah, it's weird because I'll just let the cat out of the bag. There's a character called I Equal Some in the comic, and he is a parody of the other guy or two. I Some, yeah. And
I Some.
Yes.
It's a different inflection.
It's an O, not a U. Mine is a U. But I had a lot of fun with it. There are so many little gag jokes in it. And the best part was it's funny even if you don't know, anything about the parody part. And I only know that because Diana is aware of I Som, but she doesn't know any of the particulars. And she picked up on a lot of the running jokes in there. And they were still funny, even though she had no point of reference. So I was like, yes.
That's when you're on the ball. So is he still quoting Bible verses?
Yes. One of his techniques to control his power is he likes to rip a verse. So in the middle of a battle, he might quote, one of the Old Testament things, or he often quotes Jesus. And when he's asked about it, he explains that his grandfather taught him to, rip a verse when he needs to focus so his powers don't go insane. His powers affect reality. Colors on shirts will change mysteriously, or buildings in the background might move or shift or be totally different. In fact, there's an airboat in the background of issue 7 that moves all over the little marina all by itself.
All by itself.
Yes.
Is there a giant beer stein in the background anywhere?
No, but there are some 3D models used.
Okay.
In fact, he's very close to the same truck. But there's a little joke in that too, and I don't want to give up too much, but he doesn't have the exact same model, which is why Cyclopean ends up riding in the back of the truck.
Does it fly?
No, he doesn't fly either. That's amazing. Yeah. No, he doesn't fly.
Man.
He gives a full rundown of his powers and explains them in the book because, of course,
that's not parody. That's getting ahead of the curve.
Yeah, well, the characters in the book, Captain Aura and Cyclopean, are looking at him like, what the hell's going on? Things are changing and warping in front of them. They think they've been drugged or something. And no, it's just I Equal Some. And so he was forced into retirement back in 2013 because they realized if he was aware of current events and his powers went awry, things would change. That's why in 2013, the Baltimore Ravens won the Super Bowl. I don't say it that way because I don't want to get the NFL upset, but yeah, he sneezed in 2013 and the Baltimore team beat the San Francisco team in the Pro Football Championship. So at that point, they realized he couldn't have information on current events because, a cough, a sneeze, just a moment, and he could switch president. He could do a lot of harm to the modern world. So he lives in the Florida Everglades, which is how he happened to be around and Cyclopean was in need, which is why he's in issue 7.
I can dig it. Okay.
Yeah, there's more. I'm not going to keep boring you though. Well, I'd give away the whole book if I did.
No, he could be like he's the reason why we had the Mandela effect.
Yeah, well, there are hints to that. Because he's actually a cosmic character. When you grab a guy with one fist and he teleports into the other fist mysteriously, for instance, that's some power. That's cosmic level power, So yeah, we explore that a little bit, but he's only in for 2 or so issues. So
can his codpiece deflate footballs?
I think it may. Well, are we talking soccer footballs or American footballs?
Oh well, it could change in the between panels.
Touche.
It's why I love talking about your plots with you, but I hate it because I'll throw out something that's just off the wall, and Chris is like, "Yeah, we're actually doing that." I'm like,
well,
I'm
the coolest thing, if anybody doesn't know, RJ is like someone who I love to toss stuff at because he'll give you you can get that vibe feeling when he comes back. Like I don't think you were sold on issue 8's guest star yet because I asked you for a variation, your opinion on the variation of names, and when you don't really like something, you'll point out something positive about it, and you were like, well, it helps the initials there, Okay, he's not down with that yet. Maybe I need to play with that a little bit, but I use you and a couple of other people as kind of like barometers, and if you guys hate it, okay, if one hates it and the other 2 hate it, I know kind of like it, then you get a feel for what you're doing. But it's very exclusive. I don't do that with too many people, and RJ is just I don't know, I would recommend you as an editor, a proofreader, a fan, a friend, just hey,
we do editing.
You do a lot of stuff, and you do fulfillments.
Yeah, we're making books. I tried to show Monsters Next Door tonight to Ken Ghosts. We had him on at 8:00 on the 8:00 hour. He is of course Roland Kincaid from Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, and Dream Masters afterwards, and he's doing a horror comic book. We started talking about horror writing. I'm like, yeah, we got. Dang it, it's in the car. So I showed him the Devil You Know Better instead.
I know what you mean though. When you're going for something, you're like, "Oh, I have this one here. You can take this one."
Yeah, I moved it. I moved my cheese, but yeah, he's selling the comics directly from his website, and then he's going to be launching a crowdfunder in the next couple of weeks for the short film he wants to make. And if you go through the crowdfunder, then you can buy the comics there as well as contribute to the film. And he wants to make the short film with CGI so that he can show Hollywood that he can direct a film and then make the full feature film. And the feature film and the short film and the comic book are all the same characters. This parrot, this gray African parrot called Socrates, and it's been cursed by a voodoo witch doctor back in slavery days. And it's been dug back up. So it's like all these people that it was trying to get vengeance on in the 1850s, well, they're dead, but their children are around. And he's, kept in a bird cage near a college. Because, college kids are the perfect victims in horror films.
Yeah.
So it's it was an interesting topic. I thought it was a pretty original kind of horror character because birds are scary. I told him. They have sharp things on their toes. They have a sharp thing on their nose. They just want to cut you.
Oh, charming.
Well, they are predators.
They are predators, all of them.
So, what was the name of the project again?
Socrates. In fact,
Socrates.
I'll find his website again.
I'm gonna have to make sure I check it out. I know Socrates used to be a handheld electronic device or something like that. I never actually held one, but I saw a video on it. It's also some philosopher, right?
Yeah, some
guy from I don't know. Isn't he from Greece? They're bankrupt now.
Well, they didn't know how to handle their money.
Let's see.
Okay, and well, it would help if I'd have remembered his name, Ken Sagos. I said Ken Ghost, and I think I totally screwed that up. It was a lot easier when his name was in front of me. So here, I'll just I'll share this tab instead and just bring it up. I'll show everybody again what I showed earlier. This is his website. It is the Sagos Company. I'll throw it out here in the chat. And his books are cheap. I mean, you're getting, well, here's the cover, and here's the interior art. So it's very indie. It's black and white with some spot color. It's the kind of artwork you'd expect from a first comic indie artwork. But it's $20 with an autograph and $4 shipping. And for $25
off his website, right?
Yeah, this is straight through his website. $25 if you want it personalized with your name on it. So he writes your name and his name for $5 extra. And he was like, if I'm at a convention, signatures going for like $40 on an item you bring in. And here you're getting it for like, $25. But he's also got like these posters down here of the project. There's Socrates, and I love this. He's sitting on top of the hockey mask, chainsaw, the sweater, and
little gloves there.
Yeah, the gloves.
Yeah,
all the famous horror movie icons, and he's like at the top of the heap now. A couple of different covers here, and if you get the poster, well, you can get the poster separate, or you can just do what I did. I went and got the package deal, where I said, "Give me the comic book and give me a poster," and it was $40 with $4 shipping. With
nice.
A poster is in there for $4 shipping. I had no idea how he did that. So I threw the link out in the chat there. That parrot is staring through my shirt. Yeah, it's and his talons grow as he attacks somebody. So they can stab you through the chest. It's a very magical,
I'm
mystical.
gonna check it out.
It's cool. Yeah, we're blast casting tonight. People who were on Flashcast before, who may, for reasons unknown, not be on there anymore. Just I'm prognosticating here.
It's a weird time in the whole Twitter, YouTube. I don't know, what do you call it?
It's time for another schism.
It's happening, isn't it? It's like it's all over the place right now.
It's
and still I feel like a man without a home. I'm like, I don't know where I fit in any of this. I just try to make my books.
You're just making comics. You got any art you can show us?
Yeah, I don't know.
On screen shares?
Let me see, because I had the screen set up and it didn't show up on your screen. So now I'm going to sound like a privileged jerk, but I got a new Mac a couple of weeks ago, actually. But I haven't fully set it up yet. I can see it on my screen. Let me see. All right.
If anybody else joins, I'm going to see if I have any other bling.
Maybe if I do this.
Put on my Joe King pin and my Great Cyclopean pin, and I'll just wear them all here.
Yay! I wear a Great Cyclopean pin all day at work, and the kids freak out because of the eyeball. And I'm like, yeah, he's watching you, man. He's fun.
And they got those things where the eyeball always it's lenticular printed. It looks like the eyeball is always looking directly at you, no matter where you're at on it, because you're always seeing it from the angle. Looks like it's moving.
All right, let me try. What does this do? Nothing. So right now it should be showing my art, but it's not.
Yeah.
But no.
If you got your art on the computer and it's not showing it, that's not a good thing.
Well, it's on the computer. I'm trying to get it to show in my facial thing, like with me, and on my OBS I can see it, but it's not translating into into the actual virtual camera if you're familiar with OBS.
No. I used OBS once, and I was like, this is way too hard. I will never use this again. Other news going on while you're looking for that. Fund My Comic has expanded to a second website. There is the Fundiverse now.
Yes. What's this about?
So it's the TLDR is it's the same thing, but for stuff that's not comics.
I wonder
So
how
if
he's
you want
doing. I
to-
haven't really looked at it yet. I don't know if he's got any projects.
There's no campaigns on it yet. It's just launched. I like today. It just launched.
Very nice.
You know, if you want to do a movie, if you want to do a book, if you want to do 3D prints, that's the place where you would take it. With a 3% platform fee. I don't know how that compares or contrasts to Indiegogo or Kickstarter because I just don't pay attention to what they're doing.
I'll bet you it's going to be definitely cheaper.
Yeah, and
They're
that
always
is of
cheaper.
course why I I told Ken Sagos about it tonight. I'm like, hey, if you're gonna take it to because he said, yeah, I'm gonna take it to Indiegogo. I was like, that's cool. You heard about Fund My Comic? No, because he loves comic books. He wanted to make a comic because it's just in him. He's always wanted to make one. So like, well, here you go. Can you make more Bible verses? Yeah, you could. I don't think you can get them printed in the official one. But
I don't know. It depends on how you treat the translation. So this is actually probably the cover we're going to go with. And there you actually see I equals sum. There's the I and the equal, and there's a sum on his belt buckle. You can't really see.
Sum under the belt buckle. Okay.
Yeah. and you know, they're just hanging out, getting ready for a little battle. They're facing supervillain assassins who are actually out to take down the big one-eyed alien. But that's like, I have all the pages. I just don't know which one I would want to show. I'm looking at them, and it would be so much more convenient if my iPad was communicating properly, but it's not. So I'll have to work on that. But
it's looking good.
You know what? I'll send you a PDF tonight so you can take a peek. It's not finished. You know, Diana hasn't done her final edit, so you may find a typo or two. But yeah, I'll send you a PDF and you can tell me it. Because I'll tell you the truth, and George is probably going to slap me for this, but I go through like roller coasters, and this last week has just been pure depression. I've been like, oh, I hate comics. I hate doing this superhero stuff. I want to do something else. That's why the fantasy comic thing has come up. But as soon as I get like into the funding, I'm going to jump right back into the superhero stuff. It's just like a roller coaster wave. So I that's why I always have like a side project, whether it was, you know, Last of the Reapers or Cluster Fudge or something in the background that I'm turning to when I get like burnt and I have to give it a few days, you know.
Zaid Studios taking off. Appreciate you popping in, man. Thank you for being here. Check out Chris's work. We'll have you on when you launch the campaign, obviously.
Well, and remember, guys, if you go to HeroShack.com, you can check out the first 6 issues for free, which is my attempt to get you to buy issue 7, honestly. But if you check them out, you like them, share them with your friends, share them with your kids. If you hate them, share them with your enemies, share them with your kids. It's good either way.
Definitely works. And you know, like I've gotten all of them, and I've watched your artwork evolve from the beginning through to where it is now. And it's like it was not like it was ever bad. You know, I want to say, man, your artwork's really improved. It sounds like a left-handed compliment there, but you know, it has. It's
we still got a long way to go though. Like I draw stuff and then I go back and look, and I like last issue, there's one particular shoulder I keep seeing it. But I won't change it because I want to keep it there as a reminder so that I kind of train myself. But I appreciate that because it's good 6 to 8 hours a night of just drawing, you know, like, and people say, well, go stream and draw stream and stuff. And I'm like, for me, the creation of a comic is really kind of private. It's, if we don't have any kids out there, it's kind of like having sex, or it's especially by yourself. So it's kind of like masturbation. and I don't really want to do it in front of everybody because it's like a private moment. You're like,
Gee, you think?
yeah, you know what I'm saying, George? It's like you're sitting there drawing. You're like, I can't get into the groove. Somebody's watching me.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Since you're depressed, here's a video for you.
There are some things that should not enter the human body if you want to conquer depression. Let's have a look at them. Sugar. And I'm talking about refined sugar. I'm not talking about honey or maple syrup. Well, this brain cell, it consumes 15 times the glucose of any other cell. Well, wouldn't sugar be good for the brain cell? Well, when sugar goes in, blood glucose levels rise dramatically. Brain function is overloaded. So very quickly, insulin's released. Get that blood glucose level down. And now it goes too low. Hybridized wheat. What's this got to do with depression? Sugar has a lot to do with depression because you're getting those quick highs and the corresponding dumps. The hybridized wheat does the same thing. It was hybridized in the 50s, went worldwide in the 70s. By the 1990s, every wheat product you buy is a hybridized wheat. It was pushed through quickly, so no safety studies were done. Sounds like the COVID vaccine, doesn't it? And how many products?
She took the words right out of my mouth.
Together? How many cookies, biscuits, cakes, donuts, pretzels? Dr. David Perlmutter. He quotes a few psychiatrists who take their schizophrenic, severely depressed patients off wheat, off refined sugar, and off the next one, dairy, 50% improvement. Many guts cannot break that down, and so what gets into the blood is something called caseo morphine. And the wheat breaks down to glutamorphine. What's morphine? It's an opiate derivative.
Wow.
So basically, the thing that always cures my depression, milk and cookies, is what's causing it.
I was thinking there goes ice cream cones.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. But you know
Sugar,
what?
wheat,
If she's right and I don't have any reason to doubt her, I drink a lot of sugar. I eat a lot of wheat.
Yeah.
And,
Well, she's right. I cured myself of cancer.
you did that.
Huh? Yeah. Well, I don't have it. I never had it. So, but I took her lessons, and I said, okay, I'll take this concoction. There you go. I'm cured.
So is ISOM supposed to be equal to the International School of Up Mothers?
No. No, it's supposed to mean he equals some. Like it's explained in the book, but it has to do with the mathematical odds of everything he's doing. He equals the sum of everything that's going on. It's a silly
That's a very
play,
creative way to get into that.
Yeah. But no, he's not part of the International House of Ministry, though it is odd that he has to rip verses from memory in order to control his powers.
You said International House of Ministry, and now all I'm thinking of is pancakes.
Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't jumped in on any lawsuits. IHOP is really close. Huh? It's only 2 letters off, 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's 50%. That's far more than the allowed fraction for fair use.
Well, if you count the little periods, it's actually closer than I period S period O period M period.
Yeah, and I don't know this.
All those periods, you think it's all women that are running it.
I knew that was coming. Oh shit.
Oh. If I were making a comic book company, I would come up with superhero names that sounded like superhero names.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Spider-Man, Great Cyclopean.
I saw him.
It's like, how long did we go before we figured out that, it's the name of the guy's grandfather. So that's like Superman, Clark Kent going to Metropolis, putting on his costume and saying, I am Jonathan. What kind of a superhero name is that?
What about a superhero that opens their mouth and screams, baritone sounds which reverberate and destroy whole buildings and stuff. What would you call that superhero?
Sam?
Deep Throat.
Not Black Bolt, but Deep Throat. I like it.
Deep Throat, yeah. Would he be screaming Martha?
It's a deep voice.
Yeah.
It's a deep voice. It comes from his throat.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Deep Throat. That could be a very interesting
Yeah.
superhero.
And you go,
That was actually a Sam Hamm Batman story. Back after the movie came out, they let Sam Hamm write like a 4-issue arc in the comics, and then he never let him touch it again. But there were bodies being found that were basically human-shaped bags of jelly, and what he had was a subsonic weapon where you couldn't hear it. It was lower than the human hearing range, but it was disintegrating your bones in your body.
That's such a low yeah. Well, wasn't there that thing in Cuba where they said they were using sound waves to mess up ambassadors' hearing and stuff, like on a low level?
No. That's just that's sound directed from a dish. It's old science. We even have it up here at the Ontario Science Center. All you do is speak into a microphone, or speak into the dish, and the dish sends that sound specifically to the other end of the room. And if you step to the left or to the right of it, you won't be able to hear it. But if you step right in front of the sound wave, you'll hear it. It's old technology.
A tight beam.
It's a very tight beam. That's it. They think they're hearing voices, but they're not. They're actually being hit with a tight beam audio sound, so to speak. It's old school technology.
I don't know what I think of Diamond Jack, but I know that Marvel did Jack of Diamonds, or they did Jack of Hearts.
Diamond Jack was one of the stories they read tonight.
Oh, okay. So that's why it's coming up. What do we think of? What powers would Throat Goat have?
The power of
I don't know. How long can you milk this without it getting cheesy? Of course.
Oh, you had to go there. Didn't we just tell you to stay away from dairy?
Well, now wait a minute. Dairy's not exclusively cow. That would mean goat milk is still dairy.
So, technically, my dairy department includes chicken eggs. I've never figured out why that's dairy. But
they put almond milk near dairy too. I don't know. Well, at least here they do.
I've tried to milk an almond before, and I can't even find the udders on it to squeeze them.
That's why I don't eat M&Ms. I can't peel them.
Yeah, they're hard to peel. I've stayed off of most candy because it's the way I lost all the weight was I took all the carbs out of my diet. So I just started like really counting them. But they put out my weakness at Christmas time, which is these stupid little mints.
Oh, I got some of those I can mail you.
No, don't. These are 5 carbs each. I allow myself less than 50 carbs a day, and that's on a high carb day. So I'm like counting these assiduously every time okay, I've had 2 of them now. That's 10 carbs. Let's not have any more.
Are those almost like powdery hard candy? They're not like the glossy hard candy, right?
Yeah, they're not glossy. They're very powdery. They're like the wedding mints. Hex, Alan, glad you're here, man. If you don't have the link and you want in, you know where to find it or where to find me. Same goes for Tome of Reckoning. You guys want to just hang and show your projects off? That's all we're doing. We're just chilling and shilling. Chris would be shilling if he had his project launched.
I'll be right back.
I'm a terrible shiller, though. You guys will notice I'll go and try to promote, and I end up talking about everything but the book, and that's part of my problem. And I think a lot of creators go through that. I can get out and talk, but I'm not much of a salesman, and I'm working on it. But it's
the best shows. We had the best shows when you're on because We just talk about everything. And while we're talking about it, the campaign's sitting over here to the side.
Yeah, occasionally we go, oh yeah, Diana wants me to remind you I'm selling a book. She's been doing good though. Now, last night she actually dropped $50 in a super chat over on EBS's stream. And I was like, you did what, girl? She's like, yeah, I'm going to put $50 down because I told her this year we need to spend more money in advertising. But she's like, she sees the super chat as an advertisement. She's got Facebook ads running, which never help.
No,
never.
No, I've never seen a Facebook ad help anybody.
They say it does. You see like increased traffic, but it's like, I think it's just, it shows up on someone's timeline and they count that as an exposure. So they're scrolling by. They're like, what?
They're not counting opened wallets. That's for sure.
That's true.
I mean, we took out a full page ad in Scream magazine, big circulation magazine for the Monsters Next Door. I saw a small uptick almost immediately upon publication, and then it went back down. I'm like, I expected a lot more for the money I spent, but it's still really just getting out there, the Christmas issue, because it's printed in the UK. So it's just now getting to people in the US.
Man, you got some distribution. You got some awesome stuff going on. Like, I wish I sold more books, and maybe, hey guys, if you all go and pick up 7 when it comes out, maybe I can hire RJ for some distribution in the future. But like, we just haven't sold enough books to need a service yet, you know?
That's the
goal.
The ulterior motive I have of having people on the show to talk about their books. So sell so many books that you can't handle it.
Yep. And guys, you'll hear it from so many of us, but RJ's cool. He can handle this. That's good. You've been doing it now for what, 2-3 years? The shipping? Yeah.
I went over the numbers the other day, and I was like, because January 1st, it's a holiday. I'm not going to work. What do? I do my taxes. I pull in all my expenses and everything. I was like, okay, pirate ship. Last year I spent $8,000 in postage. What did I do in 2023? I was like, holy cow.
Much more.
Over 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
Postage is kind of weird too, because like they will up that rate at a heartbeat.
It's going to happen again in a week.
It's getting, see, that's why I'm giving away books for free, because it's getting too expensive for kids to buy them unless they're very motivated. So if I can get them hooked on a series, they're more motivated and more apt to buy something. Whereas cold sell is hard, especially over the internet. It's easier to sell to a 40-year-old white man than it is to a 10-year-old kid with $20 in his pocket.
Yeah.
It's just.
And listen, kids have money. I worked at a comic shop in the mid 80s in Chicago. And, you know, these like 10, 11-year-old kids came in. They were looking at the baseball cards under the counter. And, you know, I'd been told, like, you know, be very careful who you let see these cards, because, you know, they were like really old ones.
Yep.
And they wanted to see this card. And I pulled it out and I held on to it. It was in a little hard plastic case. It was a $100 card. And I was like, let me see the back. I'm like, I flipped it over. It's there in front of them. I'm like, you know, you can see it. I'm just, you know, holding it. And it's like, he's $100. I'm like, yep. And I'm like, he's going to go home. He'll tell his dad and I'll never see him again. Kid reaches into his jeans pocket and pulls out 520s. And I'm like, sold. Here you go.
Yes, sir. Here you are.
Thank you very much, sir. Come back, sir. Good to see you, sir. May I shine your shoes, sir?
See, I remember growing up, and we had a summer, I might have been 13 years old, where we kept going to Walden Books and shoplifting off their spinner rack. And I think we must have done it, 4 weeks in a row.
You're the collapse of the newsstand industry right there.
Oh, man. We got busted so hard. Like, I couldn't go back to the mall for like the rest of my life. And my mom was called in and they threatened charges. And yeah, no, I learned my lesson, but it was that time of life. I was like, I want that book. I got no money. I'm taking it. And, you know, I learned a lesson. I never did that, but I'll tell you what I did do.
I would stay every Friday night at my grandmother's house next town over, and there was an IGA grocery store. And as soon as you walk in the front door, there was the magazine rack. I mean, you
Mhm.
didn't even turn the corner to get to the cash registers yet. There's magazine rack. And the very bottom shelf nearest the door was all the comics that had come in. It was the only store in 50-mile radius that was selling comic books. And I remember some of the books I got there, like, the Phoenix Saga.
Oh,
The
really?
untold story of the Phoenix Saga. All the Secret Wars issues, I made sure I got there. But and they had like 4 or 5 copies of each one because it was a small town. It was not a big comics reading community. So I would get in there and I would just like buy stuff. But I would go through the stack of titles and like Burn Fantastic Four was going at the time. And I would pick the best copy out of the however many issues were there. I would set it aside. And then I'd look around and I'd take the other 4 copies and I'd go tweak to the corners. I was impacting the industry right there. I was like, fewer mint copies of this one around now because I just tweaked the corner of them.
9-8, no more.
Yeah.
Well, when
And
I
I
was
didn't
when I
really
was
have
into it,
to.
I never even thought about quality. Like, I'm a reader more than a collector. Like, if you look at
Yeah.
all the books that I've bought in the last 3 years, they're stacked, like in my shelving. They're not standing, they're stacked. Like, and I know that's like a sin to a collector. It's terrible for the book.
Got 4 boxes over here that are stack boxes that I haven't put on their ends yet. But and it's not like first of all, mathematically, it's not like I was even making a blip on the market. And secondly, it's not like they needed me to do it because, like I said, it was right there at the door. And if it was storming or windy and somebody opened the door, it blew all the magazines off the rack onto the floor. So,
And then you
there
got
was
some
plenty of
stock
times
boy trying to pick them up, stuff them back on there. Oh, yeah.
yeah, people stepping on them, running their carts over them. It was just,
Did you
they
ever
were
have any of the
magazines.
monthly subscriptions? Because I remember it was a huge deal one year. My mom bought me a subscription to Spectacular Spider-Man,
They folded
and
it,
I
didn't they?
loved it, but they came in like brown paper wrapper. Like, it was
Yes.
one wraparound with a sticker on the back. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and they would fold them sometimes.
Yeah, they come in rough.
It was, in fact, that's a category in the Overstreet Buyer's Guide for books that were on this during that subscription period because they would fold it to fit it into a business envelope. Uh, and they'll say like, hey, subscription crease. It's like we know that it's not mint, so but it's better. It's good, but it's better than good because that crease was there because of the way it was shipped and printed.
Kind of like a
It's an
historical
official
marker.
crease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite a time. I mean, and looking back, it was actually, I think, favorable to the collector's market because the flaws that you were implementing, for instance, did matter. Like when you went to a store, I remember we could pick up old issues of Iron Man. I'm talking, 20s, 30s issue, in that issue range for dirt cheap if they weren't in great condition. Those were one of those titles where it was just in reach of us. But then when you went to mint, of course, it went up significantly. But if you found like a book in fair condition, you can pick it up for $30 and have, hey, look, I got Iron Man 19. Oh, great. What does that even mean? But it felt epic to us because it's like, this was printed before I was even born, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, I've got some books that were printed like the year I was born. I've got books older than me, but that's no longer a thing for me.
Yeah, I
I was
don't have
born in
any of those left either.
I was born in 67, so finding books prior to that, if I saw a 65 book when I was a kid, I was like, wow, it's old. You gotta remember, like Superman was 35 years old at the time that I was.
Yeah,
starting to
well,
read
yeah,
comics.
because we're nearly the same age. I remember, and it was way different for me than it must be for these kids because I looked at the old heroes, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and that seemed like an established pit of awesomeness. It's like everywhere I look, there are these awesome characters, and they've been around forever, and they're just awesome. Like that's what they are.
Well, and it's weird that time dilation because it's like, I remember when Wally West became the Flash. I was like, oh man, they're rebooting Flash. I mean, come on. Barry Allen, Barry Allen became Flash in 1964. He's only been around for like 20 years. And I say he'd only been around for 20 years because to my, short lifespan brain, Jay Garrick had been the Flash for 1,000.
Yep.
But when you look at it, it's like, wait, Jay Garrick was the Flash from the 40s to the 60s. He lasted 20 years. Barry lasted 20 years. It's a 20-year reboot cycle they've got going on here. They were already on it. Now it's like a 20-day reboot cycle.
The only people I think have done it right is the Simpson guys. Whoever's making the Simpsons have kept them the same age.
Yeah.
And they just perpetually live in this forever state of probably a year? Like they don't how long could their time loop possibly be,
and you can see it whenever they actually talk about like a current event.
Yeah.
It throws it off. But like, how many proms has Archie gone to? No one ever felt like they had to send Archie to college. He's just always right there in junior year, senior year.
Yep. Well, you just got to fake it till the kids grow out of it. And that was the thing. We would eventually go, this is old and stale. But that's when like Epic Comics were awesome and Dark Horse or whatever. I can't even really think right now, but Vertigo, for instance, more adult based. It's just a weird time. And I think that's why manga does so well, is because really they're still kind of making books that kids can they're easy enough to follow and they're, they're not weighed down. They're just fun.
And it was the mature storytelling that is really the mature storytelling with the lack of a rating on the cover, because they fought that tooth and nail. That's what killed the magazine distribution of it. And I probably told you this before. It was an issue of Spawn. It was the child abuse issue. And a woman walked into Walmart and bought her kid a comic because Walmart was still selling comics at the time. She picked up that Spawn issue and got it home and opened it and saw what the story was in it. And her last name happened to be Walton. So she took it to the next board meeting. It's like, what are we selling in our stores here? And they're like, well, they're we can't read every single comic that's coming in there because we just don't have the time for that. We don't make somebody have that job. So it's just easier not to carry them.
Yep.
So Walmart quit carrying them, and that took out a huge chunk of the distribution. And everyone was like, well, Walmart's not carrying them, and there must be a reason. We follow their business model, and
it's what happens. Yeah, it kills it. For all the hate the Comics Code Authority got, and I understand the problems with it, one of the benefits of it was that environment where parents were willing to buy a book if they thought that, it's got safeguards in it and it'll keep them quiet, and here we go. And they generally know the kid's not going to get, too much blood, too much rape, no murder, like it's all implied, but nothing. Like, I think that's what made the stories great. Like Chris Claremont, was he great because he's a great writer, or was it great because he was fighting a code to tell an adult story through? It's like, yes, he's great, period. But that element of trying to make sure you get past that comics code, that changes everything. It makes the writing so much more important. You can't just say,
once the restraints were off, it's almost like, well, you let yourself go so much that you didn't discipline any of the writing.
Yep. Yeah. And everybody, of course, the other problem too is the escalation. Because I think of it like Basic Instinct. When Basic Instinct came out, they had two women kiss on screen and she did a little leg shift flash.
Yeah.
And it was the hottest thing ever. Oh my God. Everybody had to go see Basic Instinct. These girls, they kiss. It's so hot. Now it's so common. It's on commercials on free TV. But back then it was so taboo. It was like, ooh.
Yeah, you got keep taking it up just a little bit more until it's frog boiling.
Yeah,
you can't throw a frog in boiling water; they hop right out. You put them in cold water and then you turn it up a little. Well, the frog's dead.
It really is. And like I'm a consumer too. I love every bit of it. I would have a hard time rewinding and going back to, George Reeves as Superman. But the
Oh,
fact is, I
it
enjoyed that Superman so much, the black and white. It wasn't that his name, George Reeves?
was, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that so much that, like, I think that was part of it because they were writing him down to a level where I didn't have to think about why doesn't he just take away all the nukes? He's Superman. There was no, it was just, oh, look, there's a scientist with a laser beam who's captured Lois and he's going to go save her. End of story. Good.
End of story. Yeah, and usually it was just like crooks. You know, it's like, who's Superman fighting today? Guy with a gun. Okay, sounds good to me.
And I mean, the character was stiff as hell, but when I was a kid, you know what? I especially loved the black and white ones more than the color because my imagination took off with those black and white ones. It felt even more, it's like,
Yeah.
dude was real.
Yeah.
He was flying.
Did you know that the suit that he wore in the black and white ones was not blue and red?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was various shades of brown because the contrast showed up better in black and white.
The second you said it, it made sense. Like, I'm like, of course not. Why, they would have to, but I didn't know that. Yeah, that's impressive.
So,
and that guy killed himself, right?
Oh, there's a whole show now. And
Oh.
Mr. Big would want to get in on this one. He might have killed himself. He might have been bumped off by a mobster because he was seeing this woman, Tony Manning, who was the mobster's wife.
Oops.
Yeah. It was one of those suicides that didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Like a Epistini.
Yeah.
I'm trying to disguise that so I don't pick up algorithms.
Yeah, George Reeves didn't kill himself. Let's just put that out there.
Gotcha.
But who did do it is still kind of a big mystery. Yeah, it's there have been some documentaries made about it, some movies and stuff.
All I know is I must have heard it somewhere, and it's always been in my head. Poor George Reeves killed himself.
Oh yeah, there's there's the story that's like, he really thought he was bulletproof. Some people even think he just jumped off a building, and like, no, he got shot in the head, by a jealous lover.
Yeah, when people get shot in the head and it's themselves, if it's not them, people need to be careful because it's usually easy to tell if the person shot themselves or if they were shot.
Yeah,
like
if you want to know about everything that was going on between Hollywood actors and mobsters, I would recommend that you go look at a book called The Mafia in Hollywood by Wayne Klingman, published by Critical Blast Publishing, now available on Amazon. Where all of these stories are there.
That is good. I will check it out. That's a good plug, bro.
It's one of our newest books. It's currently not in stock because it's so new that Amazon hasn't even got inventory in yet. But it should be there. So put it on your wish list so that Amazon realizes, people do want this. We better hurry it up.
So the novel. So did your novel not get okay? So like, I use Amazon for printing comics, but they do it like on demand. Like I don't. Maybe it's because of the digital process they use, but like, I believe if I order a book, it's printed and then shipped to me. Like it's coming off of a color digital printing machine.
Right.
I don't even know if a human sees it or if it's just,
Yeah, humans still see it, but we do all our stuff through Ingram, which is still print on demand, but Amazon will order like, give us 10 of those. And then they'll keep them in stock. And then if they see their stock.
That's the difference because you're going through Ingram.
Yeah.
Because I'm ordering direct from them. They're going to their licensed contracted printers who are probably all the small mom and pops been eaten up or, factory prints.
Right.
And then they're just downloading them to these companies and they're spitting them out. And that's how it's working.
I can order direct from Ingram myself too for, much cheaper fee because I don't have to take Amazon discount or give Amazon the discount.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start looking at that when things start getting busier. If you're out there, you're a new creator, Amazon's great to start with. There's not a lot of money up front. Well, there's no money up front, but it costs you more per book. And as you grow, you're going to want to make more per book. Trust me. Our last campaign, we've had some wonderful backers as of late. And you start throwing out these stretch goals, and I have not gotten in trouble, but we've had to be very conscious. I'm like, when we're dreaming about, well, let's get custom cyclopean laser pins that shoot an eyeball on the wall. Okay, yeah, let's look at that. Oh no, let's not do that. Yeah, we can't afford that yet. It's you have to be cautious because the cost just right through the roof.
Yep. Stick with the little stuff. I've seen Ethan. I ordered the new Cyberfrog book, and that was before I knew that by ordering it, I was going to get a Hot Wheels car.
Really?
Yeah.
See, so I did break my my vow against Ethan. I said I would never back him. He's always late. But over the last 2 years, I've started to understand that even though I do consider it a late book, he is known for this. Like, so I ordered Rainbow Brute when it was late, knowing it's late, knowing that it's going to come out when it comes out. And
it's going to come out.
What's that?
Yeah. It's going to come out. You know that.
And I'm at peace with the fact that he's going to take whatever time he needs. But it's a mindset. When I first came into the sphere, I was like, you said April 2021 and it's now May 2021, you son of a. And with him, I understand it. Some people, there's one campaign that I got really upset about, and I don't want to get into it, but I felt like the person was lying. Like when they say something like, oh, it's going to ship next week, it's coming off the press right now, I can smell the ink, and then it's another 6 months. I hate those situations. So if people update and they're honest, I'm okay, whatever.
I've seen people say, hey, look at this stack of Gemini mailers all folded up. We're shipping. And then 6 months go by and I'm like, you spent the shipping money. Yeah. And you've been mailing them out of your own pocket. That's what happened there.
Yeah. And you're doing it check by check, having to budget these out as you go. Yep. Oh, that's one thing that's really good about working with Diana, because she does keep me financially responsible. Like she knows what we're doing, and if I say something stupid, she'll
Nope.
She almost killed me over that free t-shirt though, dude.
Oh my God. You should have. T-shirts are expensive. T-shirts cost more than the book did.
But we were blessed with so I know the term now. Ethan said the term the other night. I was blessed with the donation from a whale. Someone who's supporting me because they like my work, and they dropped me a nice, just a cash donation. And I know the guy, he's like, do what you want with it. I'm like, let's give away t-shirts. Oh my God.
That's different. That's different. But I can't speak for Ethan. I can't say that I'm saying this to blow smoke for Ethan, but I think he's learning about the whole time situation here, because he spoke about this on his stream yesterday.
Yep.
About his dad being in town and saying, so you were late on the book. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, because you added 40 pages to it. It's like, yeah, I had to. And he said, and my dad told me, he's like, why didn't you just put out the original 40 pages that you promised? It would have been on time. Everyone would have been happy. You could have put this 40 pages out and made another $1 million off the next book. And it's like, well, I couldn't do that. I needed the story to be finished. Like every comic in the world has always finished the story within the pages and never done a part 2.
Yeah, he
could have had 2 on-time books and an extra $1 million.
So the thing with Ethan, and I'm feeling it off of him right now, like he's monitoring his own PR, and you can tell because he's being nicer to people when he used to blast them, and I appreciate that. I don't see any problem with it. I think it's a great move, not to necessarily tell everybody you're effing. Okay, that's cool. And I hope it continues. Like I'm excited about Rainbow Brute, and I haven't been excited about a book that's not here yet in a long, long time. Usually I've been very lucky. Everything I've ordered comes usually right when they say it's going to come.
I have only like 2 or 3 books in the last 7 years that I've ordered books where I'm like, yeah, I'm just never going to get that book. I've given up on it. But speaking of Ethan and
well, there's one right now I'm waiting on. Very disappointed. I let them know. they wouldn't refund me, but I wouldn't have asked for a refund until it got really nasty, a back and forth. I was like, I don't know, do you want to refund it? And we can end it. No refunds. Okay, then I'll wait for my book. Thank you. Enough,
That's enough. By the way, folks, if you look down at the links below here, one of the links you'll see will be to get yourself one of these patches. We got patches, and you can just put it right on your shirt or your jacket or your hat.
Now, what do those run for?
$13, shipping included.
Nice.
So everything's included in that price, and it's
fully embossed and everything. Like that's real thread, and
that's real thread. I mean, you can see it raised above the. And all the yellow is like the black is flat, and then this is like wow. I really can't get a good picture of it here. They're really, really nice patches. Are 4 inches long. I mean, you can see how small it is on the screen here, and you can see the detail that you can still read it at that distance. I've got one on the back of my jean jacket, prominently centered amongst all the other patches. You've seen my jacket, haven't you, Chris?
Oh yeah. You're like a walking billboard. You're like a NASCAR driver. You walk up and it's like, oh yeah, RJ's loaded. Oh, you got it? Yeah, you do.
Right here, yeah. Because believe it or not, I got to take it into the shop and get more patches put on it. So like there it is, right there above my own logo, and I've got just everybody's stuff is on it.
Hell yeah!
You know what I need? I need a cyclopean patch.
We're talking about that being one of the stretch goals. So it's kind of weird because I'm going to ask for a higher amount this campaign because we've been getting a higher amount. So I'm going to raise the amount. But I also know it's weird when you know the support that's coming when you've already been talking to people and they're like, yep, let's put it up. Let's do it. And I'm like, this will sound stupid, but I'm the first one to tell them, just buy one book. You don't, please, you don't have to buy 10 of them. And then they go and they're like, I love these guys, but they like get to drinking and they get to talking. And then I wake up the next morning and I'm like, oh, and they're all text messaging me, laughing their asses off at me. And I'm like, all right, thank you. Yeah. Did you wake up? Did you see what we did? Yeah, I saw, guys. Thank you.
We need a third party indie comic, irreverent person like a Mad Magazine to come out and do exactly this, Mike. Just Comic Gate versus Rip-A-Verse, because that's what's happening. That's what it is.
Well, what's up with Flip City? That's been a book that I keep seeing on Fund My Comic. It's some sort of satire magazine. I wonder if they're doing anything on Comicsgate.
I don't know.
Maybe it's not topical. Really like maybe it's not current. I don't know how. I've seen it though. I've done the countdown since September, and I keep seeing it. It's like Flip City, Flip City, Flip City. It's like a.
It won't tell you what's flipped.
It looks very Mad-like, but it looks more mature.
Oh,
boy, that's been weird too. I've done all these countdowns, and like we were supposed to be doing them together, and it got so weird. Like I haven't announced one for January. I don't think I'm doing one. But like
they don't change that often, do they?
No, and like maybe we could do a top 10 or something, but like the 40, the fluctuation in the way that the top 40, I ended up tabulating it last time around using video views as well. And if they were out for a number of months after their campaign, I was like dividing it so I could get like an estimate of the current month, even though it's not accurate. If you get 500 views the first month and then 50 the next month, and I come along and I divide that by 3, it's not accurate. But I was like, well, it's not scientific, so I'll do what I can.
You got to keep track of month-to-month views then and start seeing what became more popular.
And I'm sure there's a way to do that far more easily. There's sites that track that kind of stuff. I'm sure I could build something, but
work. Too much work. It's much more easy and much more fun to just be completely arbitrary about it and say, yeah, this was my favorite one last month, but this was my favorite one this month.
Well, I'm kind of thinking like we're going to get rid of the pre-show. Well, we already have. So like maybe doing commercial breaks and throwing in, one of my trailers, somebody else's trailer, have a 30-second limit on it, because like that was one thing I noticed about EBS Tonight too. He ran trailers, but he kept them short, and we've talked about the viability of that, and it works so well. It's just enough to wet the tongue, and boom,
Yeah.
it's gone, or it
That's
should be
hard.
if it's done well.
I mean, even my trailers. I mean, if I look at them, they're like the logistics trailer is 1 minute and 2 seconds.
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to cut them down.
Yeah. Like I've got a trailer here for the next book, The Devil You Know Best. I'm not going to play it right now. It's 1 minute 46. And that's just because that's how the song came out.
And you like it. It feels good, but you're like, I know people are going to get like to 45 seconds and start going, all right.
Yeah.
I'll get the book if you stop it now. And it goes on for another 45.
Yeah. It's like it's mine, and I'm watching it, and even I'm like, how much longer has this thing got to go?
It's bad when it's I've done that too. I know. My Trolls one my Trolls one is like that. I watched the Trolls trailer and I'm like, I love it, but it's too long.
I haven't played this one in a while, and this is actually one of the next upcoming book.
Man history, man of magic. He's a mother-loving son of a fate most tragic. His black mystic arts kung fu is undeniable. His mojo with the ladies is simply indescribable. Can you dig it? He's half vampire, bloodsuckers can't stop him. Half werewolf, half zombie, no way you're gonna top him. High kicking, ass kicking, master of his trade. He's half movie star, you don't need no shaft to blade. Yeah.
Very nice.
That was fun to write. John's Longbox in the house. John, thank you for having me on the show recently. I appreciate that. Glad to see you here tonight. We're just the topicless, really. We're just kind of wandering all over the place. Yeah, I've said 3 books are like the next book, because we've got The Devil You Know Best, which we're reading for. We've got over 200 submissions for that thing. It's going to be double sized.
Wow.
The first 2 books had 20 stories each. We're already at 11 confirmed that are going to be in the book, and because damn it, mine's in there.
Yeah.
My story is in there this time. I finished it, and it's going to be the final story. It will be the Revelations book for the entire run. But there's 10 more. I was like, we got 65 alone that have passed double reads. Like, yeah, this is good. This should be considered. So we got 65 that should be considered, and then we got another 35 that have just come in the last 2 days. That haven't even been looked at yet.
So how big can you make this book?
Well, I made the Grimm's Fairy Tales 540 pages.
Okay. Yeah, you can get it up
make
there
it big, but I didn't have to pay them. I have to pay these people.
Yep.
So it won't be bigger than 40 stories. It might be a double-sized final volume, but I'd like to keep it down below that.
Yeah, the cost of printing never was an issue until it is. Like when I first started, boy, now I sound like old, but 5 years ago even, it was half the price to print these things.
Well, I'm not worried about the cost of printing because, it's going to be distributed through Amazon. I don't have to pay for each one being printed. They take it out of the retail cost of the book.
Right.
But, it's...
You have to pay the talent then?
Writers.
Yeah.
What's that?
You have to pay the talent then.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody who gets in gets, a copy of the book. So I've got to buy a copy of the book.
Yeah.
At cost. And, and they get, $25, which is just really a token payment. But it's enough to qualify for membership in the Horror Writers Association.
Oh.
It used to be 20. And then I saw that. I'm like, you know what, guys? I know I said I was going to pay you 20, but we're going to break that deal and we're going to pay you 25 because of this. And now you can. So, hopefully some of them took advantage of that and became members, got their professional affiliation.
That is a cool function of even wanting to be in the book. If you weren't already convinced you wanted to be in a book this cool, a little side like benefit, yeah, man, that's good.
It was, why not? It's an extra $5 to to make you eligible for something that could open doors for you with other publishers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was that's one of the other things that I always wanted to do with the books. Like The Devil You Know Better, and you and Diana have a copy of it there. We had Mike Barron in it. We had Hart Fisher in it. And we had all these new voices that, if when you get published somewhere for the first time, first thing you're going to say is, look, I got published in a book. And I made it so that they could say, and I'm in a book with these people who you already know. So, it just adds further validation to, your talents and the acceptance of them.
That's a good point too, because it's easier. Well, I'm not going to say it's easier, but people can get in a community printed book. Like we have local publishers who will do, poetry books and, story books, short story books. But it's all local writers where you're like, yeah, no, look, we actually have a couple of national talents here too. And there's some other veterans peppered in. And yeah, that again, another plus.
Yeah. And I'll tell you the ones I'm really looking forward to. We are working with the Tamulevich family.
Oh yes, we are. That's because, more Diana's line. That's why if you see how my eyes pop up, I'm like, hey, that's my last name. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And Krista too, right? Are you and Krista working now?
That's what I meant. Krista is going to be doing. Well, we haven't seen it yet, but rates are good. We're happy with the proposal. She is working on 2 children's books that I have written.
So have you negotiated a media with her, a form of media like Canvas or digital or?
No.
Good, because I just gave her
leave that to her.
So Diana made me upgrade to a M2 iPad. So Krista, I gave my M1 to. Boy, that gets my M1 also. So on Christmas Day, Krista comes with my old A14. I'm just calling the iPad by processors at this point. But her fiance says, oh, it's not charging as well. So Diana says, oh, we can fix that. And she comes up with this plan in minutes. So I got the latest one. Krista got my down thing. And I think he inherited the old one. So everybody got a win-win.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I'm letting her pick the medium. I mean, she's going to show me some samples soon here.
I'm excited because she, and I'm not just saying this because she's my daughter, but like I think she's better than I am. I always have. When she was 14, I was like, "You're drawing better than I draw. Your forms are more fluid." She had more life to them at that age already, And I'm hoping you're blown away. I don't know. She did a story in Trolls Exposed. But I don't think it caught her imagination the way that your story is going to catch it. Like she was doing an adaptation with her mom, and it was kind of like a different thing for her. Where with you, she's, you would be a client, and she's very different when it comes down to like you're not her mom. She can't slide on this or get away with that or.
Well, hopefully, she does get taken by the stories. I did, but I'm kind of biased. I wrote the things. The Christmas story was. I told you that one is like I wrote it, I finished it, I went to bed, and I got up in the middle of the night and said that's not finished, and I had to get back up and do more work on it because I realized that I'd stopped it a little bit short.
Hey, I was saying goodnight to John in your text, in your chat.
Yeah, good night, John. Appreciate it. Hope the storms don't keep you up. And I'm going to say it again. The next thing we're publishing, yes, there's always a next thing. Apparently, is let me find the. There we go. Share this tab and pop it up. This is the wraparound cover for Strange Imaginings. Now, this one is a smaller anthology of short stories, and there's no call for reads because I wrote them all. They're all mine. So, George has been working this cover up based on, the characters in the different stories, and we're going to put a framework around it, much like we did with Gods and Services, which is a deep cut.
It's funny you said that. Well, it's not funny. It just goes to show. I had a sneaking suspicion that the design had George involved because it looks so smooth. I'm like, yeah, no, that's got George feelings all over it. And I don't mean like the art style or anything. I mean like the layout. I can
Yeah, well,
feel George in the layout.
George's professional history would surprise a lot of people, and I won't tell
Oh,
people.
we've talked a little bit. He
much
doesn't, you
about
know
it.
how he is. He'll tell you enough to be dangerous. But
Yeah,
like we were
I know.
talking software, and I was like, dude, I know what that program's used for. Who are you?
Yeah,
What
well, I
exactly
know
have
the
you been
companies.
doing?
I know the companies that he's used to work for, and the projects that he's been on, and
Yeah,
he didn't say that on live.
he's not just some guy on the internet.
No, no, he's not the Blue Muppet guy that everyone just thinks he is, who comes in with the occasional dad joke.
But he
Um,
loves playing that role. Today, I don't know how, but I ended up on CG Slums, the show. Not on the show, but watching it. And he comes in and he starts messing with Vic King. And I've never laughed so hard. Because Vic's got his art on screen and he's like feeling it. He's like, yeah, what's wrong with this drawing? I love my art. And then switch over to George, and there's the Blue Muppet. You know, he's got
yeah,
Joe Cool right there. Or Joe. Did I say that
Joe
right?
King, Joe
Thank you.
King, because he's
And he's got
joking.
him right there. And that's like his art compared to like Vic King's, and it was just a riot. It was like, I mean, Vic King's got like this girl with big boobs, and he's like, "What's wrong with these boobs? Look at it, you're ridiculous." And here's George's art, and it's Joe King just smiling away.
Have you seen George draw on a live stream before?
Never.
Because I have. Because he was doing because he does the books he's fulfilling right now. He's got art boards in them, so he's drawing a unique picture for each person on there, and he draws his initial implement for sketching is a blue ink pen.
Wow.
There's no pencil. There's no blue line. It's light pen, dark pen, and if there's a mistake, he just fixes it with ink. A brave artist.
Well, it's funny you say
just to
that
watch
because
the
I was
stuff.
working on paper tonight. Hang on, I'll just show you because I don't ever do this. But I started working on paper tonight on this little weird. Whoop, bring it over here. It's gonna fog out because it's got that stupid cleanup filter. But you can see he's like a creature. Stop unfocusing. Anyways, it's on paper. And I never do that anymore, but I'm getting back to the paper because when I finally do this little new concept, I'd love it to be all grayscale pencil because like I can do some killer continuous tone, but that's kind of risky and it's all on paper. And I have to go to paper because as much as I love my digital iPad, it's horrible as a fake pencil. It's great as ink, but to get that continuous tone, even with Fresco.
I remember the first because okay, so things were inked before because it was easier for the copiers to pick them up and get. But as our copiers got better, we didn't really need to ink the books. And I think the first book I saw that was not inked was an issue of Sandman that Charles Vess penciled and then just straight up colored over the top of the pencils. No inks. It was gorgeous. Because it was just these light pastel. It was almost like it was watercolored with pastels, but the colored pencils. Just a striking look to it that I'd never seen before in comics.
You are familiar, of course, with Gene Colan, right? Marvel.
Yes, I am. Oh yeah.
Towards the end of his career, I want to say there was a point where they were printing his pencils, which they were doing little tricks to darken them up enough, and then they were coloring them. And I can't remember the title of the book. It'll come to me later, but
was it Tomb of Dracula?
No, I think it was even older than that. It was like a small little thing he was doing with Marvel, and they were using a process where it darkened the pencils up enough and cleaned them up enough so that they could print them. Hang on, now I'm going to have to Google it and see if I'm just crazy, but I seem to remember something like that. Anybody in the chat remember that? I think I do, but I'm not sure.
I don't remember the title.
I don't even know if
going
you have viewers right now. I feel like we're on a radio show, so every now and then I should say something to them because the chat is usually better than the shows, you know.
Oh yeah, I hear you there. I'm going to pull up some big books here since we talked about some other ink art. So I'm going to hide my camera so I can actually move my curtain around here and walk.
Let's see. Gene Colan, annual painting with pencil. That's not what I'm talking about. He's done, sketchbooks and stuff, but I thought there was an actual book. I may be mistaken, but yeah.
I have these big books in crinkly cellophane bags in my hand here. I'm trying to get them out of the cellophane because they come out sideways. The bags are so big. The books are so big. They have to go in these things. Okay, camera back on now. So this is one of George's books. I mean, look at the size of this freaking thing. It's ginormous.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's very huge. But
I remember hearing about that. I couldn't afford it.
Here's one of the sketches he did in the front of this book.
So he starts off. I'm guessing that's blue. Is it ballpoint?
It's blue ball. Yeah, it's a big pen. No, it's a Papermate. The blue Papermate pen. He said, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I don't know, Universal Monsters." So here's like the werewolf and Joe King, and then that was on a blank page, and then in the back, this is actual artboard that he had bound into the book. So, and you can see the blue lines, the guidelines and everything are on there. There's the Invisible Man and Joe King. and again, it's all done with Papermate pen. He just puts the point down and starts drawing. And of course, because it was 2 books that got fulfilled. Yes, he is fulfilling people. It's just a slow process.
Wow, look at that thing though. That's like something. That's like you can have that out on a table, and it's like it's bigger than a family Bible.
Bigger than a Treasury edition, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You got the Joe King, and well, I need to get my new shelf will have lights behind the computer instead of in front of it. Joe King and the Frankenstein monster there, and then again another artboard back here. The artboard is actually thicker than the cover.
Wow.
That's supposed that's Dracula. So I got Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein, and the Invisible Man, all posed with Joe King. Not everybody got to
freaking awesome, man.
Not everybody got to say what they wanted, and I didn't know what to say because I was going to say, hey, I have every artist draw a Batgirl, but George already drew me a Batgirl. It's on the wall back there.
No kidding.
I won't have you do that again. You know about my Batgirl collection.
No, I'm learning every day. There's always something new to learn.
Okay, so like the first convention I went to with money, where I'm like, you mean artists will draw for you and you can take it home? I don't remember who the first artist was, but I was like, I knew what he was known for. And I was like, silly me. I'm like, I'm going to challenge him to draw something he doesn't normally draw. And I was, Barbara Gordon Batgirl, because I've had a crush on her since I saw her at 4 years old.
In the show?
In the show. Yes.
Yep.
She was my girlfriend in my head.
Mine too.
Still is. And I got that, and there was like a second artist there. I'm like, well, you know what? I just had this guy draw Batgirl. Let's see what you do. And now I had 2 of them. At which point I'm like, okay, that's a body of work now, isn't it? And I just have all over the walls here different people's drawings of Batgirl. I've got an Andy Smith Batgirl behind me here. Yeah,
Are they
they're all the Barbara Gordon.
That's awesome, man.
They're all from the comics. I got a Rich Parada one over there, which looks like it could be a fucking cover, because he inked it and everything. Rich just rocked it. There, I at some point I'm just going to have to scan them all and just do like a slideshow. Like, look at all my Batgirl pictures. Now some of them are sexier than YouTube would like to be seen.
Oh, you mean they're colorful.
They're colorful.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not. Sometimes not. She's not wearing all of the costume.
That happens, and it's important to be realistic.
Now, I had a picture, a big picture, and it was done by Al Bigley, and Al had the distinction of having drawn realistic style with things like West Coast Avengers, and animation style because he did the artwork for the backing cards for the Batman the Animated Series action figures, as well as some of the coloring books. So he had both styles. This is a picture I don't have anymore. Don't know what happened to it. I'll tell myself I don't know what happened to it. I know what happened to it, but I don't know what happened to it. It was not a favorite of the spouses, and it was this picture of, I said I wanted a realistic looking Batgirl getting dressed, not nude, holding her costume up in front of her with the mask on, standing in front of a full length mirror and reflected back at her, but that the reflection in the full length mirror was animated style. And the rest of it was all real world style. And I had this whole plan where I was going to take this thing to a convention. It was all just pencils. I was going to have like Rick Burchett do the inking on the animated one. I was going to have George Perez do the inking on the live one. Like I was going to ever run into George Perez and afford him. And then I would just like have all their signatures on this one big piece of jam art. I don't have that anymore. I wish I still did.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I get what you're saying too. Oh, it sucks.
Yeah,
that's worse than your mother throwing out your comics when you're 15 in the rain. Like that's the worst thing that happened to anything that I had. That's a heartbreaker.
Nobody knows where it went. It just disappeared and it moved somewhere.
The Twilight Zone.
Right.
Hey, I hate to say this, but I have to go to bed.
You know what? I was looking at the clock here. I was like, damn, it's been 2 hours. Let's do that. So, Chris, it's been good talking with you. Always enjoyed having these conversations.
We should do it more often because when I don't talk to you, I think that like you're mad at me, and that's not your fault. That's just my natural inclination.
No, I'm never mad at anybody.
I know you're like chill. You know, you're always chill. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me, and I hope you do this more often. And anybody in the chat, thanks for hanging.
Yeah, glad to be here. We'll try it again in a week or 2 weeks or whenever. But go to bed, make comics, and just keep being great, man.
All right, man. I'll be sending you a PDF tomorrow.
All right, I'll look forward to it.
All right, man.
See y'all later, guys. Good night.